would like to proceed.
Okay, okay.
Thank you.
Yep. Mr. Chairman, sorry about that.
2021 meeting. This application is located at 322, 324.
Shana Patel. So on the bright side, we just heard an application wherein parking was a huge concern. So we're here to request permission to increase parking in Paterson. And two, to allow sufficient time for any objectors to put on their case before the board. The only request that I do have tonight, and based on previous case law, is that the board renders a decision in all cases. He's the owner of Fortress Holdings. I do not have any direct testimony. However, he is available to answer any questions the board may have.
I do. Paul Cassis, Paul-Qassi. So I guess last time I heard that there were some questions from the commissioners. I'm here to answer any questions that there may be.
Already?
That wall was built, correct.
Okay. There was another wall prior to that. Was that removed, or was
The neighbor that if additional removal is going to cause some damage to, as I understood, that they agreed to it. Evidently, that's not the case. So if they want the wall to be removed, it's not a problem. We'll remove the wall. Just keep in mind that if there's any damage to the lot in any way, you know, because this wall is
soil to run onto the neighboring properties into the city street, that is something that you have to address. So
no, that's not a problem. Like I said, if the neighbor would like the wall to be removed, I will remove it.
once in so many year kind of storm, but after heavy rainfalls or windstorms, where maybe possibly where you do have some open area, after that storm, to either address it or, you know, make sure that if there's a tree down, that you remove it.
I agree 100%, and just to clarify one more thing again, that the last storm that we had, none of the soil came from my property guys, 10 of my construction guys, to go and clean the street completely with equipment and everything. It took us almost a little bit over a day to clean everything, although it came from the adjacent property, not from my property.
That is true. So what you're talking about is a lot next door to you and not yours. I understand that, but it was not clearly stated by your engineer last time when he gave testimony. But I see that on the map, that it's, when you drive up Berkshire, southwest of your property,
Correct.
which is to the
It's,
left of your
I
property,
believe-
right? And I don't know who that owner is, but then that would be something that would be enforced through, again, the building department, and they would address that.
Just to let you know, the address of that property is 1 Attilio Terrace, and that property I don't own. I own 555 Preakness Ave, and
Thank you, sir.
you're welcome. Any other questions?
Any commissioners have questions? Oh, the attorney, excuse me, sir.
You have to come back. Yeah. Just 1 second. Commissioner, you said this so eloquently before, but just so the record is clear, in lieu of me making an objection any time relevant to the application before the board here in Paterson.
Ma'am, we're only going to deal with the Paterson property
No,
tonight.
absolutely. I just
Individuals who are Paterson homeowners. David Dennis, I have this list, if I can submit it to the board for its record, but let me read off their names. Some of them are here tonight. Dean Battle, 309 Berkshire Avenue. Marisol Nunez and Francisco Beltre, 305 Berkshire. Natalia Peralta, 175 Chatham Avenue. Verna Mitchell, 293 Berkshire Avenue. Dennis Quelliar, 297. James Durkin, 294 Berkshire Avenue. Leonel Mendoza, 300 Berkshire Avenue. Joan Attis, 308 Berkshire Avenue. And finally, 322, 324 Berkshire Avenue, that's the property in question. Was that acquired specifically to function as a parking lot?
Yes,
And as a parking lot, is your property on Preakness Avenue?
because it was non-conformant as a residential, yes,
Yes.
I did. Because it was non-conformant to build a house on it, I did buy it as a parking spot.
The notice of this meeting and the notice of the previous meeting, and I'm quoting, the 2021 amended approval concerns the properties located at 555, 561 Preakness Avenue and the half-width of Sherwood Avenue. Again, quote, the parking lot, it's a split lot, a portion of it is in Totowa. The PQ, what we're talking about tonight, is in Paterson. You say in the notice, years ago,
I said, I don't remember, but I could have 2017 or 2018, I don't remember the date.
well, let me attempt to refresh your recollection. Could we have this marked as Exhibit 02? Register. And if you'll note, it refers to the date of recording in the left-hand margin, October 13, 2017. If you go down the middle of the page, there's a box that says document type deed, and below it, document date, and to the right hand of it is of functioning as a parking lot for the project that was ongoing at the time.
No, it's fine. It's your exhibit. I just wanted to make sure that, you know, the board wasn't missing anything, because they
Well,
don't have the whole
if you
deed
want
instrument.
to, the deed is a public record, we can produce that for the board as well.
No, it's fine.
Acquired the property from International Management LLC. Do you have a recollection of that?
Correct.
Are you in any way, or any principal of Fortress Holdings, in any way connected to International Management LLC, to the closing which gave you the deed of title?
I believe so, it was like 30 days prior to the execution.
So there was not a hard negotiation, it was done in a period of 30 days?
Correct.
And do you recall what you paid for the property?
I think $60,000.
Okay. Now, let me ask you this question. If in fact you owned the property for the specific purpose, Totowa, well, you had an application in Totowa subsequent to 2017, in 2019, is that correct?
I guess, yes.
Was the deed, was the use of the Paterson property as in that deed discussed in Totowa in 2019 when you appeared before the,
I
I
mean,
just
is
want to
that-
object, even though I did do a blanket objection. We're getting into a line of questionings, which is focusing, we're getting into a line of questionings that's focusing on the Totowa application and the Totowa meeting, wherein there's already pending litigation, so my client can't answer questions, so as to have this meeting be council, any questions pertaining to those, please feel free to ask my client.
let me lay out why I'm proceeding on this line of questioning. Our concern is that...
Well, I think there are two separate issues. I mean, one, if the witness is being, you know, counseled not to answer.
a hard and fast instruction. Let me lay out why I'm proceeding in this direction so that at least the board understands it.
Sure.
You've got Paterson property and Paterson residents who don't not answer, so be it.
So, everything that was stated by council are all allegations outlined in the lawsuit that's pending currently in the county, and therefore, so, again, Paterson,
Let me ask you this then. Was Mr. Quasis, was this lot shown on any...
meetings, I don't remember.
You
I
don't
remember
remember?
the 21 meeting.
You don't remember, all right. Let's go then to discuss your proposed uses of your accumulated properties, other than this particular lot.
And his name is Patrick McClellan.
Also an engineer. Am I right about that? Mr. Duval, who was it? It was an engineer. Yeah, Mr. Duval was here. He's our planner and our engineer, and he says from the same firm, another individual was here. And I can tell you who it was. I took notes when I was watching the board on YouTube. Dwight, his last name is Clark. It was Dwight Clark? I'm not sure the first name. I think it was Dwight Clark.
Matthew
The
Clark.
court reporter can't,
I'm sorry?
doesn't,
Matthew Clark.
That night.
He had a bypass surgery.
Well, for whatever reason, when Mr. Clark was not able to answer questions that Mr. Rowe posed. All right, so you can't answer, and Mr. Clark is not, Mr. McClellan is not here tonight. All right, I have no further questions of Mr. Croesus.
You have to wait a second.
No, I'm just letting you know.
Well, the attorney will take charge.
I'm sorry, no, we do not.
No, but there's somebody behind me who said he has a question.
First of all, I'm going to object to Counselor's objection. I have a letter here addressed to staff. And basically what it says, and I'll just get to it's from the Advanced Parking Concepts. And what they're saying is, based on total authority,
Well,
you
you're-
need to state clearly to the board.
I don't-
You
I
don't
don't-
have to. You don't have the power to just wave your hands in the air.
Thoroughly out of order last time.
No, it wasn't.
And frankly, you're going in that direction again.
Sir, when you were, what date, you submitted this application on what date?
yes. One moment.
And Counselor, while he's getting the microphone, I object to your constant characterizations of myself.
Questioning, noted, thank you.
Mr. May? Yes. We good on this night?
Yes. Wait. Okay, it's going.
Hello,
There you go.
Gary Paparazzi, are you here?
No.
Oh, give it to Mr. Labeled Kaufman, Samorano, and Liebman. Are these attorneys related to you, sir?
Yes.
And did they submit materials for you to the city of Paterson on your behalf?
I'm not sure what they submitted to Paterson or not. I know they submitted an application on my behalf.
Okay. So if there's materials, we talked about how, and I mentioned this a moment before, that the number of patrons is based on your number of parking spaces. So here we are looking, whether it's the 14 or 17 spaces or the entire lot. If, for example, this was denied, would that change the number of patrons you would have at your business?
I'm not an expert. I don't know what.
If, for example, this reduced the number of patrons that you were allowed to have at your business, would that be a positive thing or a negative thing?
I'm not sure what the question is. I don't.
Okay, if you were only to have, say you are denied here tonight, and you have fewer patrons allowed,
Don't know.
have more customers or fewer customers?
It depends. It depends on the customer.
Okay. You want more people coming to your business or fewer people coming to your business?
Again, it depends on the people. It
So
depends on
if
the
the
customers.
maximum number of people allowed at your business was reduced, that would
What kind of clients? Babies?
patrons. No, sir. The ordinances and the laws and the documents from your representatives only refers to the people as patrons. That's a catch-all phrase for any kind of person that might come.
Teenagers are patrons. But I don't know their.
Anybody- pretending your business were to go down because the board denied this application, how would that affect or impact your business?
I don't know, I'm not an expert, I just told you that.
But it's your business.
I'm not an expert.
Have you owned a business where you had patrons in the past?
Yes, I did.
You did.
All right, Mr. Su, you've asked the question, it's been answered.
Yes, he did. Did you hear him? No, I didn't. Okay, sir, repeat your answer, please.
Yes, I did.
Yes, he did. Okay, could you tell me the nature of that business as it would, and the reason why I'm asking that question is, if it was a business that is similar into the character of what you're,
Here at the prior hearing. Did Mr. Paparazzi not do exactly that? Did counsel be litigated elsewhere if necessary? Right now, the focus is whether or not we can get, what is your issue with the parking spots? The application before,
agree with you.
Sir, what's your question? Just ask me the
Okay.
question. What is your question?
Did you remove any greenery or trees or foliage on this property, the Paterson parcel
No.
on this property?
The property is not even. So the property slanted towards Paterson, so my retaining wall was built. I didn't have to put any more dirt. I didn't have to do anything.
Have you put excavators on the property? Okay. I would have to move forward with exhibits to show him what has transpired and the exhibits that are in his record.
Mr.
Some of
Su,
them are based on,
what does
the-
this have
the-
to do with
the-
the T in China? We're talking about 14 parking spaces.
I can't find it in the record. And there are other documents I can show this board this evening that I could not find in the record. So it's very difficult for there to be a complete understanding or for me to ask confused.
I'm
I'm
sorry
saying
that-
that it's difficult. Do not characterize me as confused. I am not confused.
I'm sorry you're having difficulties.
The difficulty is
sorry you're having
a void in the
difficulties,
record.
but-
It makes it difficult if there's a lack of relevant
Please do
information.
not speak over each other as the court reports.
Between what would be the finished grade of the parking lot and what was there previously.
But I mean, that, to me, that sounds in planning. I mean, it's.
No, that's not planning. How is, no, it's not.
And reviewed the same plans, the application that was presented to you as well today.
Right, but I found
The
checklists that were,
application, the plans, may I just finish, sir? The parking.
well,
So I gave you the package of everything that has been done so far, because as an objector, you're entitled to see them.
well, lists that I found in the office yesterday, and then I have pictures of all, you know, the,
I'm not exactly sure, I'm a little.
I just stated it.
But I'm not saying, what you're saying is not correct. As the secretary, I'm just saying that everything that you've got, that you had been given, is what I have.
I understand, but there's a,
But were you
Again,
we're not off track.
no, we are off track, and we're.
I want to get to a question regarding the amount of fill on the site. I need to see
How-
the permit, I need to see the site plan.
Well, I'm sorry. This witness's testimony, though, you had an
Okay,
opportunity.
well, I want to, what I stated in the beginning, sir.
You had an opportunity last time to question the witnesses who testified about that, and
Sir,
you didn't.
the
And now
record-
you're coming back here. What you can do is, you can speak as a member of the public, but what you're doing is not relevant to this witness's testimony. And so if you want to get up on a soapbox, do you have,
I wanted to use one of the exhibits that was handed to me just a few minutes ago to direct a question. That was the opening thing that I've stated, and I'm asking because it is a document that says TOTOA on it.
okay?
It was submitted by the applicant, just handed to me. Am I going to be able to use that document to direct the question? If the witness cannot answer it, I don't know whether he can answer it or not, but I would like to know, am I allowed?
commissioners, with
Was it something from the TOTOA application? Okay, so the board has decided that no, they're not interested.
But the document
I'm sorry,
contains,
I'm sorry. Do you have anything pertaining to?
well, the document, sir, the document
No,
concern,
sir, I dozens, if not hundreds of pages of you. for the
sir,
record.
the documents that were from
I'm sorry,
Totowa
the
include.
answer is no.
Sir,
The answer is no. The answer is no.
it's bizarre.
Well, maybe.
So if I could be allowed to finish my statement without being,
So you're not entitled to make a statement.
You're-
You are not entitled to make a statement. You are entitled to speak as
it's
a
an
member of the
objection.
public.
It's an objection.
Well,
Can
it's
I
no-
finish my objection?
Record that you object, and I'm
All
sorry
right,
that you
I'll
don't
do
like
it
the
on my
board's decision.
direct.
Okay.
Mr. Cuisas, did you do work on your property without permits?
What property? Without any permits? Okay.
Okay,
Respectfully,
Again, this is-
Commissioners, I'm just going to have to object again. It seems to appear to be a pattern of Mr. Shu to take up the entirety of every single hearing. Township Planning Board, the chairperson does have the right to limit duplications of testimony or terminate testimony that's irrelevant to the subject matter. Last time we were here, we spent almost 2.5 hours doing the same exact thing. This is an application to get 14 parking spots approved. This is our third appearance. We've spent almost 10 hours before the deny the application, or if we're just going to continue having the same sessions for the foreseeable future.
Chairman,
do you believe
May I say
that you're going to have more witnesses?
No, we're done.
No, you might.
Okay. I have
What-
an exhibit that I'd like to submit
Mr. Sue, one
that
second.
relates to the questioning.
So hold on.
One second.
We have a
I-
commissioner that wants to ask
Thank
a
you.
question.
Thank you. Sir,
Yes.
and have you been willing to hear them out and see what their concerns are?
Commissioner, just to make one thing clear, I think there's a lot of misunderstanding of this application. So just to give one minute statement, this lot, 322, 320, they always had flooding prior to me, for years, prior to me even purchasing this property. So I'm spending over $100,000 just on storm retention system. I'm cleaning the lot, I'm putting pavers in, I'm putting landscaping, I'm putting subtle lighting, and I'm just cleaning the entire lot. And for him or anyone to question or as far as, yes, I spoke to neighbors. I spoke to neighbors on the left of Berkshire, and in fact, I realized a gentleman right here, I think, this gentleman, I spoke to him before. I spoke to the neighbor on my right, and I know my neighbor on my right. She had an issue with the retaining wall, the prior retaining wall, and thank you.
All right, continuing with my
Commissioner Furman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Do you think this project, in which way would this project benefit City of Paterson?
In many ways, many ways.
Can you mention one, please?
Yes, flooding always been a problem for Berkshire. So
Been hearing everything. I do understand, and I think is that you're only using the parking lot just because, I mean, from the last time that I was here, like you said, valet.
be used.
Okay, so it's going to be something very monitored. It's going to be valet parking. It's an in and out. It's not going to be a whole, 14 cars blowing horns or anything like that.
Not at all. In fact, we are closing the gate of Berkshire. We're not allowing access.
Okay,
So, I mean, positives, only positives.
I understand. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right, Chairman. Commissioners, as well as residents on Berkshire and Linwood, there's a few things that the chairman would like. Suppose the applicant had stated on the record is there was some dirt, some debris, some rocks coming down onto Berkshire, onto Linwood. That is going to be his responsibility. Now, he put up another, of people that were being represented. All of the odd number addresses on Berkshire, which is the left side of Berkshire when you're driving up, are being affected by the property to the left of the applicant, because the property that is in negatives in place. There is going to be no traffic going up and down Berkshire. There's not going to be any traffic going up and down Linwood. As far as the wall, he is going to be responsible for soil and debris on his side of Berkshire all the way over past Linwood. That'll be in the record how the board is going to protect the residents of Paterson. And also, I'm going to suggest, if there is an issue with, and I don't believe there would be with 16 cars, but if there is an issue with noise, then I'm going to suggest that the applicant would also be willing to put in the resolution.
I just want to say that, you know, of course, Gary is not presupposing that this board is going to.
To grant the variance or not?
No, I'm not, that's not at all what I'm asking. I'm just asking whether or not the board wants to hear more testimony from the applicant. No one is telling you in any way, shape, or form that you can't put on your case. Of course you can call witnesses. It's just a question of, are we going to move on? We have to.
Well, moving on, I quite understand that. I'm sympathetic to that.
Sure. The question is whether.
Moving on, I quite understand that. I'm sympathetic to that.
Sure. The question is whether or not the board feels it's heard enough testimony from the applicant at this juncture. Of course, everybody knows that the objectors are going to put on their own cases. Absolutely.
Commissioners, Commissioner Barat, yes or no? Commissioner Minota. Commissioners, Commissioner Barat, yes or no? Commissioner Minota.
No.
Commissioner Arenas.
Yes.
Commissioner Vega.
Yes.
Chairman Jackson. 5 yes, 1 no.
Well, I just wanted to respond to Mr. Paparozzi because he was dealing with a group, and I'd have to come back and tell you whether there's a possibility of settlement. I can't do that tonight. I did want to state, however, that when you're talking about the undersized lot, I believe you're talking about the Paterson portion of the lot, not the total portion of the parking lot. Is that correct? It's a split lot here. Yeah, well.
Yes, it's the Paterson lot is undersized.
This applicant could combine the two lots, or half lots, or whatever you want to call it, to build a house. So it wouldn't necessarily be undersized to build a conforming single-family home. And to focus simply on the Paterson side, since the whole parking lot is before you, at least we know that, I think it's
Mr.
unfair.
And quite frankly, it would create more variances than the application in front of us now.
All right, but I just wanted to focus the board's attention to the fact it can go the other way, too, and become a
Right,
single-family
but
home.
since he owns it all, obviously, that's not what his intention is.
I know.
I mean,
He
listen,
stated his
sir,
intention.
we also have to use common sense, too. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but, you know, prior to that lot. So they might have to extend utilities, and this would all be on Paterson's dime. So they would have to extend utilities, they would have to extend the roadway, and then also you would be creating more traffic onto Berkshire by putting another home there. This way, you know.
And come back to you, but I can't do that tonight.
Yeah, well, okay, all right, I understand, okay.
I just want to state an objection briefly. I was in the middle of asking my questions. I went to go and fetch an exhibit to finish my line of questioning. I understand that you're not going to allow me to continue, but I merely object to it.
We're gonna work with 2 mics?
I have,
You take that, Mike?
could I use the one with, that's,
Yeah, sure. Do you have the easel too for the big drawing, or are you just using?
No. C-U-V-E-L.
Mr. Tuvel, state your business location, please.
Yeah, my address is 629 Ridge Court in Ridgefield. It's been quite a long time.
Are you familiar with the subject property?
I am.
And what methodology did you use to investigate and prepare for tonight?
I reviewed a lot of materials that were provided to me, reviewing the site plans, and the lot is a split lot overlap in Totowa. The lot has previously been developed serving as a dense buffer between the zones in the respective municipalities.
This is a use variance application?
Yes, this is a use variance which is required not only because a commercial parking lot is not permitted in Paterson's. The accessory use, therefore, takes on the character of the principal use to which it is accessory, and which is to be considered by this zoning board. And in addition to the use variance, which is sort of minimum lot area, the front yard fence height, the fact that there will be tandem parking, and also the parking stall size. Do we want to distribute
Yes.
any of our exhibits?
Could we mark this?
I think I have sufficient copies for everyone, including the applicant. Do you want to distribute those, Mr. Becker? Oh, okay.
This is it, 03?
Okay, I'm sorry. Here you go.
Mark, can these all be identified as 03, the three different things? She's doing it individually, never mind. Mr. Cage, it's 03, 04.
Exhibit 03, would you identify it for the record, please?
Yeah, okay, so 03 is a plan that's entitled Site Plan for 555 Preakness Avenue. This is the applicant's drawing, the applicant's plan. It's sheet 3 of 12. The municipal boundary line as it traverses the lot and in the sort of greenish highlighter showing the portion of the lot in Paterson and showing how the municipal boundary is on 03. The second one we have is the date on the first exhibit, 03. The date is, the original date is April of 2015. The second is also from the applicant's on a plan dating back to 2015.
He's
I'm
03,
sorry.
03.
The one that you were just describing, that
03,
That's 04. Yeah, okay, I finished with 03.
that's 03.
And now I'm talking about 04. That I've heard of to date, highlighted in yellow on 04 is the proposal that a large amount of the, a considerable portion of the lot in Totowa is draining. It's 05 is a Google Earth map photograph just showing an aerial view of the site. You can see the existing time in 2021, the walls that were constructed, and it also shows where a lot of the existing buffer that was between the residential properties on Berkshire Avenue has been removed. That area that you see in sort of the sandy color. That's all area that has been, but the clearing for it is shown. And again, the purpose of this exhibit is just to show that that area that had previously been buffer is
dated, original date of 2015,
yes.
and shows the subject property.
The property, yes, the parking lot property, yes.
Now, you heard the testimony tonight that the applicant did not acquire that property until 2017-04. You talked about it as highlighting storm drainage. Could you be more specific as to what it's showing with respect to storm drainage?
Well, it's showing that literally conveying it into the storm sewer on Linwood Avenue. And I would think that somewhere in Paterson's engineering department or otherwise, objection to the parking lot tonight. I just thought that you might want to know that a lot of stormwater is coming your way in Paterson from Totowa.
Okay, and so talk to us about, with specificity, please talk to us.
55D, 70D1, we all know it's called a D1 variance, where in particular cases and for special reasons, the zoning board can grant a variance to allow for departure from regulations to permit a use or principal structure for seeking a use variance for the parking lot that is in a residential zone in the city of Paterson.
But you said the lot was accessory.
Accessory use takes on the character of the principal use to which it is accessory.
So for their orientation or their reference, they have to look at the lot not as a parking lot, but as the whole development project, because the lot is only accessory to something else?
Yes, they should. That's the way the board, in my opinion, should be.
Is that a correct assumption?
It is not,
Okay.
in my opinion.
Well, go on, please. with the
Okay,
vote thing.
so, and also there are C1 and C2 variances that are being to a specific piece of property where the purposes of the municipal land use law would be advanced by a deviation, and the benefits would outweigh any detriments. I know that this is something, Mr. Paparozzi, that you're very, very familiar with.
Well, having said that, what are the applicant's burdens of proof?
Well, the applicant must demonstrate the parking in Totowa it's underparked in Totowa, but Totowa granted a parking variance. The total number of approved parking spaces in Totowa is 137, with 40 additional spaces, tandem spaces, 27 spaces for the banquet portion, 79 spaces for non-seated patrons, 36 spaces for office use. In successive applications and amendments in Totowa to the application, the applicant has increased the building size, resulting in the increased parking requirements. So the Totowa site is 60% underparked, but it did receive a parking variance is applied. I think it's 1 per 100 square feet for a catering facility, and it's 1 per 2 patrons otherwise. But in any event, the purpose of my telling you this is that I just wanted to make the board aware. With respect to the split lot zoning requirement, the case law indicates that absent a cooperative agreement between municipalities, each has to deal with the portion of the property within its jurisdiction. In this case, Totowa granted a use variance for a commercial, had been previously designated actually for affordable housing, which that's sort of in limbo somewhere. The affordable housing in Totowa is gone, and I guess the affordable housing portion is gone of a use variance. The positive criteria to demonstrate that special reasons that would apply to this application include whether the applicant would suffer undue hardship or where the use would serve the general welfare because the site is particularly suitable. Any perceived or supposed for an overly developed principal use in an adjoining municipality is, in my opinion, not supportable.
What you're saying is they could reduce the density of the total piece to avoid the extra parking
Yes.
requirement.
Demand for the use exists, and that the use itself is particularly fitted to the property in question. That the site may be convenient for the applicant's purposes for the proposed use or has advantages due to its location is not sufficient to prove particular suitability. It must be shown that the for the residential properties which are known as the Heights neighborhood in Paterson. Under the negative criteria, the applicant is obliged to prove that the variance can be granted without substantial detriment to the public good and will not substantially impair the neighborhood in Paterson. This total development literally amenity that they have proposed. So this is looming over the Paterson residences, and the buffer has been eliminated. And I think that this additional parking lot, not, you know, I understand that what has been said or alluded to. This parking lot is not that, it's not so, if the zoning board were to approve this application, it would be essentially ratifying the use variance granted by Totowa, and you would be bailing out the overdevelopment of the Totowa parcel. And that's my...
I promise, I'll make it very quickly. Oh, sorry, you want to use that one? Okay.
Because the
Okay,
accessory
yes-
parking lot...
yes or no?
They're inextricably linked.
yes or no,
So I don't think I should put a percentage on it.
Okay, a majority. When you made many references to the dense buffer,
Yes.
can you explain exactly what you were referring to as a dense buffer?
I was referring to the tree, the wooded area that had previously existed at the end of Berkshire Avenue.
And when did that exist?
That existed, actually have photographs.
So,
I have, no, I have the exhibit cleared, but we do have some photographs, I believe, showing the end of Berkshire Avenue. This doesn't, this shows it cleared over here. Well, it would have been similar to what Mr. Paparosi, that you see, the green area, that also existed on the right side.
but you have no proof that it was my client's project that demolished any of those trees. It could have been natural causes, it could have been other things.
No.
It doesn't matter.
It was, I'm sorry, but it was your client's clearing of that area that took these trees, yes.
But you just heard testimony that that entire lot was filled with over,
Okay.
you know, strike that. No questions.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I was using this. Okay, I'll give it back to whoever. Thank you.
Does any commissioners have any questions?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
I don't, you know, we have a series of photographs which basically says what I described about Exhibit 05. It shows the wooded area. Would the board care to see that? I'll leave it up to you. We do have photographs showing the end of Berkshire Avenue, and we sort of have before and after photographs to. Okay, if you think you've seen it, fine. Either way,
I like the mark.
yeah. I think they would help. I mean, I think that they definitely would help.
Hold on, sir.
For your consideration this evening, I think they should be on the record as 06 and 07.
Well, let's keep one for ourselves.
Okay.
When somebody's paying tax on the property, you can't expect them to say, well, pay tax, but use it as a buffer.
Oh,
If somebody's paying tax on the property, how could they if he was going to develop it into anything, it would not be a buffer. Anything.
I testify all the time about applications, commercial and residential, where municipalities require buffers.
We have a buffer.
It's done all the time.
We have a buffer.
What buffer is that?
Well, he's got the wall, he's got the area, and pay taxes on it. You can't expect that. I'm sorry. If you were paying tax on the lot, you wouldn't say, well, let me pay tax so that it serves as a buffer. If somebody's paying tax on any lot, in Paterson or any municipality, you can't expect them to say, well, just leave it vacant so John Doe can walk his dog, or Jane Smith doesn't want to see the building on the next block.
But if I own a property that's between a commercial and a residential zone, I hope that there's a buffer.
We have a buffer, and I just explained it. 16 cars on the lot. This is valet parking. What kind of noise do you expect? They're going to kick the door in? You know, you have to be reasonable here. So, wait. No, I'm just trying to explain how I protected the board and the. You know that, like in Bergen County soil, Passaic County soil, the foot candles will not go on anybody's property. The city engineers will not allow that. So
You also have the issue of, even you talk about the fence that it being locked up. If you have valet parking, that entire parking lot would be blocked off. There's going to be activity there for my clients as well, and the board weighs it all. Okay, and that's all I'm saying. I'm saying that there's an affront here to a residential neighborhood in Paterson, and I don't think that the citizens of Paterson, some of whom are represented here tonight, are going to appreciate that.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to just ask a question. You said that this would bring actually property value down to the city of Paterson. How would
I mentioned that, but I defer.
you have to hold the mute, I think, for a few minutes or a few seconds.
Hold the,
The mute button, he said hold it in?
got it.
Okay.
Test, test.
hold until the light goes on?
Test, test. Lights on.
Test.
Oh,
Let's start with 06.
Okay, we haven't handed these out?
No.
Okay, this is a
Hold
sort of.
on.
Okay, I'm sorry.
If you're going to present them, would you like to put the number on the back of each one?
Yes.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 406?
Correct.
Yes, and they should be the same or close.
How do you have
for-
another one? This is 06, there's 12 photos. But
So, counsel, do you,
They're the same.
Yeah, I did say that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay.
yeah,
One, and then my citizen
there's no disadvantage to them coming in, because if you grant,
We had Mr. Shu go to the photo. Yes, okay.
He's been dying to buy a cigar to smoke. It's over.
counsel, if you could just, authenticate the photographs and lay a little proffer for a foundation for having the photographs admitted into the
You want
record.
me to or Mr. Case?
Well, first of all,
I guess, well, he'll direct you. Which number?
The number that we're talking about 06,
06, okay. the
which shows Berkshire Avenue and shows the, prior to the clearing of that area on what we're calling the right side of Berkshire Avenue, that was previously a
color photograph.
they're both color, yeah, that's right, correct, the color
Okay.
photograph. And then the black and white photograph is certainly a more recent photograph and shows, as I described, that, and it shows the clearing of the dense buffer that had previously existed.
Mr. Tavel, the catering hall is built?
I'm sorry?
The catering hall is built already? Is that what this?
Yeah, that, on the black and white, not close, but I think at its completed height. The rest of it may not be done, but that's the completed height.
Counsel, can I just ask if you were the one that took the photos, and if so, on what date the photos were taken?
I am not the ones that took the photos. The,
Which photos are you referring to?
these two.
Wait, I'm sorry, you're gonna need to be sworn because now you're testifying.
It's fine. I was sworn at the last meeting.
Okay, well.
If you want to do it again, go ahead.
Well, if you'd been sworn, you've been sworn.
Okay, I'll just state my name for the record, David Sue, 34 Van Houten Street. I was previously sworn. So it probably was taken about a week before then.
Okay, and the second one, the color photograph?
The second photograph is one that I sourced from Google.
So you didn't take the photograph? Okay,
I
thank
did
you,
not
thank you.
take the photograph,
Thank
but...
you. Okay,
but,
thanks.
sir,
Thanks.
no, can I finish my statement?
Okay, thanks.
Audience.
No, not tonight.
So I just want to make a comment.
All the documents returned.
Shut up. This microphone?
Just make sure the light is off.
Here, no? No, you don't
No,
have to.
she said shut it off.
I'll take care of it.
No, I'm not testifying on behalf. But what's extremely disheartening is the conduct, the code of conduct in the what's extremely disheartening, an enormous amount of distractions on the side of the board. While the residents of Paterson, these are Paterson residents, are here to express their concerns, it seems as if, and I'm saying what perception is, it seems as if the concerns of the residents, of which Mr. David Sue is also a part of, is being sentiment to an elected person who is here to represent the residents of the city it's pointless. It's too political. That's extremely disheartening. One last comment, Mr. Paparazzi. Relative to your comment, do you not expect I'm not here to represent investors and or employees, people who come here to get a paycheck. Your lack of patience and your lack of professionalism to the residents of the city of Paterson is a great concern of mine. Because the people who come here to present their case and their argument, however they choose so fit to present their argument, presented tonight, by the way I observed it, was there was an agenda in place. And or maybe there's a situation where you, sir, are incapable of dealing with an issue when it comes to a specific members. And if that is the case, then you should recuse yourself from dealing with this deliberation.
Order, and there are procedures, and yes, people do have the right to come in and speak just as you are speaking, but what people do not have the right to do is to be out of order and to disrupt proceedings and have irrelevancies. There is a certain procedure that needs to be followed, and you know that fully well. You can't have a circus at your council meetings, and I'm sure you don't. And so people need to be respectful, and they need to follow the rules of order.
Respectful and choose to follow politics, I do not. I'm here to represent the people. And again, when you talk about relative to professionalism, when a person comes here and they're objecting to an application, they do not deserve to be treated the way I witnessed a resident of the city of Paterson being treated tonight. I'll just leave. Go back and view the meeting yourselves. But I sat here and watched with several other residents who felt that there was no attention being paid to their concerns. And that's a great concern. These are the people who pay the taxes here, not the applicant.
Chairman Thaxton, I will proceed now with to carry Fortress Holdings LLC